Welcome, kiddies, parents too. This is the 13th edition of Nalis's Celebrity Tale-A-Thon, the Christmas version. I'm Ayanka Will, and I am thrilled to take you through Christmas season through stories told by celebrity readers. Before I introduce them, though, remember, guys, to stick around, not just for the stories, but for some lovely surprises in between. And of course, we must say thank you to our sponsors, without whom this would not be possible. So, thank you to Republic Bank, the National Gas Company Limited, and the Kiss Baking Company. Our first reader is no stranger to any of us. She is, in fact, the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Her Excellency Miss Paula May Weeks.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm so happy to read to you again. And as it's Christmas time, of course, I chose a Christmas story, my favorite, Little Drummer Boy. David grew up in the inn that belonged to his family. His father was the innkeeper, and his mother cooked for the weary travelers. David's older brothers and sisters attended to the rooms and the stable of the inn. David was too young to help out at the inn, so he would play drums on the floor with a pair of spoons all day. "How's my little boy?" David's father asked as he swung David up onto his shoulders.
Pum, pum, pum.
David sang as he drummed on his father's head with the wooden spoon.
Pum, pum, pum.
"We must find this boy a drum. My poor head can't take much more of this," said David's father as he laughed. David not only loved to drum, but he loved to sing too. He sang to his mother as she cooked delicious meals. He made up songs and banged on pots, pans, and bowls as he sang. David made music all day long. His mother loved to hear his joyful noise. "Someday you will sing in the temple, my son," his mother said. David liked that idea. He thought of how exciting it would be to play in the temple. It made him smile.
Tum, tum, tum. Tum, tum, tum.
David sang as he drummed on a pot.
Pum, pum.
David's mother laughed. "Your songs are very beautiful, my son. Keep singing and keep playing. Your lovely voice and your skillful drumming make my heart happy and my work light. Don't ever stop, my boy."
Pum, pum.
A few years later, David received a small drum for his birthday. It was a wonderful gift.
Thank you, Father.
David said. He gave his father a big hug. Soon, he was beating his drum wherever he went. David would go around town and play on his drum the sounds that he heard around him. Was the sound of David's brother arranging fresh straw in the stable. David drummed. This was the sound of his mother stirring a pot of stew. Was how David imitated the sound of donkeys and carts that passed by on the road. David sang about the people who came to the inn. He sang about horses in the stable. He even sang about his family. One day, David's father gathered everyone together. "We are going to be very busy," he said. "Caesar Augustus declared that account will be taken of all the families in all the towns."
But why will that make us busy?
David asked. "People will come to be counted," his father said. "They would need a place to stay during that time." Just as David's father thought, they were very busy at the inn. There was lots of work for everyone to do. David's mother cooked more food than ever. David's brothers and sisters were cleaning the rooms and stables all the time. Each morning, David's father was welcoming more and more people into the inn. Soon, the inn was very full. Late one night, there was a knock on the door. It was a young man and his wife who sat upon a donkey. The couple was looking for a place to stay for the night, but there was no room left at the inn. David's father was a kind man, and he knew that these weary travelers needed a place to stay. He remembered that there was some room at the stable. "You can stay in the stable," David's father said. "It's not a room, but it will be warm and dry." The young couple thanked David's father for his kindness. Then they walked with the donkey into the stable. David was excited about the young couple staying in the stable and ran to tell his mother. David found her in the kitchen and began to sing a song.
Come and see, there's two people with a donkey.
He sang. David's mother prepared some dinner for the young and tired couple. When she returned from the stable, she told David and the rest of the family that the woman was going to have a baby soon. The next morning, David helped his mother carry some more food to the man and his wife. The young woman in the stable had her baby last night, she told him.
Really?
David was surprised. The baby is the King of Kings, they say, his mother whispered. People are traveling great distances to see the newborn baby. They walked into the stable, and David was amazed to see how many people were there to see the baby. It was so crowded that David couldn't see the newborn at all. After he and his mother dropped off breakfast, they went back inside the inn. David looked sad. What's wrong? Asked David's father. David said that he was sad that he didn't get to see the King of Kings. Don't worry, said his father. We can see him tonight. Maybe you can play your drum and sing for him, suggested David's mother. David liked that idea. Later that night, David took his drum and went with his family to the stable to see the new baby. The young couple welcomed David and his family. The stable was still crowded with lots of visitors to see the King of Kings. David stood at the back of the stable and began to play his song for the baby.
A baby born into the world. They bring gifts and come from afar, just to see the boy who is king.
Everyone in the stable stopped to hear David's song. They moved to the side and cleared a path for the little drummer boy. He walked up to the baby and continued to sing as he played his drum.
Little baby, I do come to visit you, but I do not have a gift to leave.
The newborn baby smiled as David finished his song.
The only gift that I can give is the sound of my drum and the song.
The baby's mother and father smiled as their child, the King of Kings, fell asleep to the sound of the little drummer boy. I hope you like the story, and I hope it ushers in the brightest and best Christmas for you ever.
So kids, apart from the beautiful Christmas stories you're going to hear, there's also a chance to win some goodies. So tell us, what's your favorite part of the Celebrity Tale-A-Thon? With an email of a short video, at least 30 seconds, but no more than a minute, to the email address on your screen right now. You'll have the chance to then be featured on Nalys's social media pages, with their parents' permission, of course. And parents, don't think we've forgotten you. You have the chance to win too. Just tell us how many times you spot the Christmas tree for your chance to win hampers from our friends at Nestle. It's that simple. So kiddies will send an email with the subject, my favorite part of the Celebrity Tale-A-Thon, to the email address on your screen, while parents can send spot the Christmas tree to the same email address for the chance to win. Now remember, those submissions are closed as of December 30th, so get to sending. But for now, let's get back to the storytelling. Up next, we get ready to hear from 5-year-old Corinne Clark. This is actually her second book, and it's taking you on a trip. Get ready for Corinne to take you on some adventures, this time in St. Kitts and Nevis. Enjoy.
Hi boys and girls, my name is Corinne Anaya Clark, and today I'm going to be reading Chronicles of Corinne Adventures in St. Kitts and Nevis, written by me. Hello friends, I'm excited and so very happy. Do you know why? I'm vacationing in St. Kitts and Nevis. We'll be here for 10 days. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. My mommy too, but my daddy was born in St. Kitts and Nevis. I've been here twice before to visit my relatives. Mama Jan, Papito, and Uncle Ray live in St. Kitts. My great granny, Auntie Joya, Auntie Joyce, Auntie Nola, and Uncle Mackie are just some of my relatives who live on Nevis. I'm really excited to spend time with them. My daddy said now that I'm a bit older, I can finally get the true tourist experience. A tourist is someone who leaves their country to visit another country. I left Trinidad to visit St. Kitts and Nevis. So I'm a tourist. I can't wait to explore. Day 1, Port Zante. Today we went to Port Zante. That's where all the huge ships dock. When the ships come to St. Kitts, tourists, all the shops around Port Zante to purchase souvenirs. A souvenir is something you buy to help you remember the trip. My daddy said Port Zante is important to St. Kitts and Nevis because a lot of the money needed to build schools and create jobs come from the cruise tourists who visit the island. Port Zante is a fun place to explore. We saw men walking around with monkeys in the cutest little outfits. Monkeys wearing clothes. Isn't that crazy? Daddy said tourists like to hold and pet them and even take pictures with them. I'm a tourist, so I did it too. Day 2, the St. Kitts Scenic Railway. Today, we rode on a train. At first, I was scared because I had never been on a train before. But this train ride was lots of fun. We got yummy treats and refreshing juices. But my favorite part was the music. The tour operators taught us songs and told us stories about St. Kitts and Nevis. I learned that the St. Kitts Scenic Railway is one of the island's main tourist attractions. You remember what a tourist is, don't you? The tour guide said a long time ago the train was used to transport sugarcane from the plantations to the mills. At the mills, the sugarcane was crushed, processed, and made into the sugar that we use to make yummy treats like red velvet cupcakes. When they stopped making sugar in St. Kitts, the trains were repurposed. That means they're now being used for something else, like giving fun tours. Poinciana, the national flower of St. Kitts and Nevis. The national flower of St. Kitts and Nevis is the poinciana. Can you say it with me? Poinciana. Poinciana. That's a tricky word to pronounce, but another name for the poinciana is flamboyant. Mommy says that name fits because the tree is big, bright, and beautiful. I agree. The flowers are red with hints of yellow. The poinciana can grow as tall as 40 feet. That's almost 6 times taller than my daddy is. There are many poinciana trees all over the island. Looking at them make me feel happy. You see the poinciana? Day 3, Brimstone Hill. Brimstone Hill is a huge fortress at the very top of a huge hill in St. Kitts. I was very happy we didn't have to walk all the way to the top. From the top of the hill, we could see the ocean and the tip of a tiny island that's not too far away. That island is St. Eustatius. Papito promised to take me there one day. I enjoyed our trip to Brimstone Hill very much. Mommy said the fortress was built by our ancestors many years ago. I can't wait to learn more about Brimstone Hill and the other fun places in St. Kitts and Nevis. Learning is fun. Thanks for listening to my reading, boys and girls. If you want to know more about the story, get a copy of my book. And that was only a part of my book, Chronicles of Corin, Adventures in St. Kitts and Nevis. I hope you have a good Christmas. Bye!
A House Full of Christmas by Barbara Jus. Every year, the whole family came to Granny's for Christmas. For weeks, Granny baked and decorated and wrapped packages. Edgar loved the Christmas fuss. Fat Cat did not. It was too noisy. On Christmas morning, Granny prepared her candied yam casserole and set an extra leaf in the table. Then she wound the grandfather clock, sat down, and waited for her guests to arrive. Edgar perched eagerly at the window, while Fat Cat scowled under his favorite chair. Tick, tick, tick went the grandfather clock. Flick, flick, flick went the snowflakes hitting the window. At last they came, chatty Aunt Fanny and her skinny sister Clarice, Uncle Bert the fireman and his brave fire dog Walter, Great Aunt Ruby, who smelled like wild cherry cough drops, Annie, Michael and little Otto, Aunt Ivy and her noisy boys, Freddie, Denny and Kenny, and Lambert, who had a soft, warm lap. Everyone squeezed into the kitchen for Christmas dinner. Uncle Bert carved his famous smoked turkey. Clarice tossed the green salads, and Granny passed her candied yam casserole. Woo went the wind. Shh went the snow. After dinner, everyone opened presents. There were lots of bows. Granny played Christmas carols on the accordion. Everyone sang along, except for Fat Cat, who sulked. When it was time to leave, Aunt Fanny opened the door. The snow was mounded in front. "There's too much snow to drive home," she said. Granny looked at her big family and smiled. "You can all sleep here," she said. "There's plenty of room on the floor." Granny got out blankets and pillows, and everyone settled down. First came chatty Auntie Fanny, who blabbed all the family's secrets to Great Aunt Ruby. But Great Aunt Ruby had taken out her hearing aid and couldn't hear a word. Tick, tick, tick went the grandfather clock. Woo went the wind. Shh went the snow. Little Otto was afraid monsters were crawling on Granny's floor. He trembled under the covers. Annie picked up Otto and held him close. Michael rubbed his back. No monsters could get Otto now. Walter dreamed of his fire dog days, riding the truck, rescuing kittens. As he dreamed, he jerked his legs and thrashed around, exactly like Uncle Bert. Bert was dreaming of the glory days too, with Walter at his side. Tick, tick, tick went the grandfather clock. Aunt Ivy couldn't sleep with Freddie, Denny and Kenny squirming beside her, until Edgar scurried up to the boys, gave them each a lick and lay down. He was long enough for everyone to reach. The brothers patted Edgar as they drifted off to sleep. Tick, tick, tick went the grandfather clock. Woo went the wind. Shh went the snow. Clarice was thin as an icicle and cold as one too. She shivered under her blanket. Lambert didn't need a blanket, so he gave his to Clarice. Fat Cat spied Lambert's chest. It was soft and warm. He leaped up, sprawled out, and purred. Tick, tick, tick went the grandfather clock. Shh went the snow. Granny listened to the clock and the wind and the snow. She listened to her family sleeping all around her. She pulled up the blanket to her chin, turned over and over again. "Edgar," Granny called softly. Edgar licked the sleeping boys one more time, then scuttled up to Granny and nestled in the crook of her arm. Ooh, went the wind, but everyone was snug. Shh, went the snow, but everyone was together. Tick, 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 went the grandfather clock, but everyone was fast asleep. Tick, tick, tick. The end.
Hi friends, my name is Anand Laukaran, and today I'm going to read to you a story entitled The Fight Between Noisy and Quiet. And this story was written by Mala and Ananda Laukaran. Babu lived in the quiet village of Navet, Dashin Bush Trace to be exact. And just like every other home in that place, his wooden house was surrounded by trees and bushes. Now Babu sold homemade bread for a living, which he baked in mud ovens in a shed in his yard. He made all kinds of bread: long bread, short bread, white bread, brown bread, and the village's most favorite bread. You guessed it, it was hops. And every day, Babu would ride through Navet village on his bicycle cart, tooting his horn and shouting, "Hot bread! Come and get it!" And the villagers would surround Babu's cart. Everybody loved Babu's bread. Now Babu had many good friends, but his best friend was Boise Basdeo. Boise was his friend since childhood, but he had moved to the big noisy town of Shagwanas. And every time Boise visited Babu, Boise could not stop boasting about the excitement of the city life. And when Babu sat in his sugar bath hammock under the house, he looked out at the vegetation and shook his head. What Boise saying is right, you know. This place full of bush. This place too bushy and quiet for me. Babu worked very hard, and after some time he saved a lot of money, thinking that he would now buy a big house in Shagwanas. And that's exactly what he did. Babu was happy and invited all his country friends to see his fine home. "This place have plenty big houses, Babu. But Babu, you have the most beautiful home." And Babu would smile from ear to ear. Yes, he thought, I reach now. I'm living in a nice place. One night, he lay down for a good nap on his big soft white bed. Babu had barely closed his eyes when suddenly he heard a strange sound. It sounded like fireworks exploding. He went to the window and looked out, but there were no fireworks. Instead, he saw his next door thin neighbor pounding on a big tassel drum in a terrible way. "Oh no!" shouted Babu. "Gosh man, not so tassa the sound! Stop it, Mala, trying to sleep here." "I know learning to play, Mr. Babu," replied the tassa man. And he went about his noisy practice. Babu's head was throbbing. He rubbed some tiger balm oil on his forehead and drank some cool water, which made him feel better. He closed his eyes and he drifted off to sleep once more. But again, he woke up. He woke up with a start. He thought someone was pounding on his chest. This time a loud noise was coming from the other side of the house. And Babu strained. Yes, he strained his eyes only to see a man making a steel pan out of a drum. "Oh gosh, man, stop making that noise!" Babu yelled at him. "I'm trying to sleep here." "What happened to you?" shouted the man. "I have to hammer this pan out of this drum here." Relax yourself. And after some time, the steel pan man took a break and Babu went back to sleep. But soon after, the noise on the left started again and then stopped. Then the noise on the right of his house started. And Babu was sleepless that night and he was very angry. In the morning, he called both his neighbors together and said, "All you have to stop making that noise every night, so." And the neighbors looked on amused. The Tassa man said, "What you feel? This is the countryside or what?" And the pan man said, Look, Carnival is around the corner. My steel drums must be ready. Look, go and buy some earplugs and put it in your ears, man." And they walked off on Babu. And Babu straight away ran up to the pharmacy to buy the earplugs and try them on that very night. But they kept slipping out of his ear. He covered his head with a blanket, but that did not help. The noise was driving him crazy. And he could not sleep at all that night. He tried calling out to his loud neighbors, but no one responded. And finally, Babu went over to his neighbors and offered to pay them $500 each to make less noise. The neighbors took the money and agreed to tone down their volume. And that night, Babu slept like a baby. He rolled around in his soft bed and he enjoyed a good rest. Babu went to work the very next day, selling his hot bread in the busy Shagwana's market. "This place real noisy," said Babu. And all day long he thought of his nice fluffy pillows and his big bed. And he thought to himself, "I could sleep good tonight." He was tired when he came home. He took a long shower and drank a cup of chocolate tea and ate 2 big hops with a bowl of tomato choka. The evening was silent and Babu drifted off to sleep. Peace and quiet. That money was a small price to pay for a good night's sleep. And in the middle of a good dream, Babu heard the faint sound. Crap, 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 padap, 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 padap. First it was soft and then it was getting louder. It was the sound of the Tassa drum practice. The Tassa man was practicing. Then came pong pong, padang pong pong, ping ping ping, ping ping, pong pong, pong pong, pong pong. The steel pan man was making his pan on the other side of the house. Babu held his ears and he ran out to get an explanation from the neighbors. And this is what the Tassa man told him. That money was for one night only. And they walked off on Babu. Imagine that. Babu sat in his yard and thought, "This noisy place is not for me. Never does be so quiet and nice. I better go back, yes?" And Babu did just that. At Christmas time, he returned to the gentle countryside. He hung a row of blinking lights at the front of his home. And the bushes and the trees, like good friends, waved to welcome him back. He didn't mind the bushes again. As Babu rocked in his hammock, he thought of the nice black cake and sorrel his Navik neighbors had given him. The soothing December breezes fanned him nicely. And just like that, Babu fell asleep. Thank you, kids. You take care now, eh?
And kiddies, if you wanted to learn how to make poinsettia, stick around. Auntie Natoya will show you how to do just that. After that, we will hear from our Honourable Minister, Simon de Nobrega, Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister.
It was the first day of December. Henry Bear knew for sure that it was because he had run out of numbers on the calendar to check off on his countdown to Christmas. Henry loved Christmas. Oh, to be sure he loved Christmas for all the presents and for all the good food, especially extra jelly cakes that Mama Bear always baked at Christmas time. But Christmas was even more, a special time of love and warmth and good cheer, when even strangers smiled and said Merry Christmas. Then there was the singing and the sleigh rides and the ice skating on the pond with big mugs of hot cider afterwards to warm the tummy. Perhaps though, the thing Henry loved most about Christmas was the tree. A fine and full Christmas tree, beautifully decorated with presents underneath and good friends all around it. That was Christmas all right, and Henry smiled as he thought about it. Today is the first day of December, Henry said to Stanley. It's time we started looking for a tree. But Christmas is still more than a fortnight away, protested Stanley. We've got plenty of time. Nothing of the sort, said Henry. If we don't start looking right away, all the best trees will be taken. There's not a moment to lose. And he put on his hat, his scarf and gloves. Stanley knew it would be futile to argue further, so he slipped into his imitation raccoon suit and followed Henry down the ladder. As they walked to town, Stanley could see that Henry was right about all the best trees being taken. There were people everywhere carrying trees or loading them onto sleds and pulling them home. The first place they came to where trees were being sold was the farm stand. Fresh cut on the premises, read a large, roughly lettered sign. There were a great many trees here, all sizes and shapes, but not one with the size and shape that suit Henry. Next, they went to the schoolyard, where students were selling trees to benefit their scholarship fund. Henry and Stanley walked around, examining each tree carefully. This just won't do, Henry said about each tree they examined. They were about to leave when Stanley spotted a tree lying off by itself in a corner of the schoolyard. Pulling his sleeve, Stanley coaxed Henry to where the tree lay half buried in the snow. Stanley reached down and lifted the tree gently and stood it upright. How about this one, he said. Henry scowled. That is the scrawniest, most pathetic-looking tree I've ever seen. Half the branches are missing and the needles have already turned brown. I like it, said Stanley. Let's try the church, Henry said enthusiastically. They always have good trees. This year, the church had one tree, but it was a beautiful tree, a perfect tree. Even Stanley had to admit it was the most beautiful tree he had ever seen. How much, Henry? Asked the vicar as he pulled his money pouch from his pocket. It's not for sale, replied the vicar. It's being raffled off. The person with the winning ticket gets to take it away. So how much for the tickets? Henry persisted. 50 cents for one, the vicar answered, and 3 for $1. Henry took all of his Christmas tree money from his pocket and counted it out. $3.70. How many tickets will that buy? He said as he handed the money to the vicar. Let's call it an even dozen, the vicar said. Good luck and a Merry Christmas to you too. Oh boy, Henry said to Stanley on the return trip home. I just know we're going to win that tree. But the vicar said they've sold hundreds of tickets, Stanley pointed out, and we only have 12. Even if we had just one, Henry replied confidently, for he truly believed that he was meant to have that tree. I know I'd still win. I still think that we should have bought the one at the schoolyard, mumbled Stanley. At least we'd have a tree for sure. But nothing could shake Henry's firm belief that the tree was as good as his. At supper, the raffle was all Henry could talk about. He rearranged the furniture in the living room and left a big space for his tree. He carved out some new tree decorations and made yarns of paper trains. The night before the winning ticket was to be drawn was a sleepless one for Henry. He tossed and turned while visions of his tree danced through his dreams. In one dream, the tree was wearing wings and growing smaller and smaller as Henry walked towards it. "What do you suppose that means?" Henry asked Stanley after telling him about his dream as they walked towards the church. "Search me," answered Stanley. He had a pretty good idea what it all meant, but he was hesitant to say. As they passed the schoolyard, Stanley noticed that the tree he liked was still there, off by itself. "That's my tree," he said to Henry. "I think we should have bought that one." "You'll forget all about that tree," Henry assured him, "when I win my tree." At the church, there were dozens of people standing around waiting for the vicar to appear. All of them were hopeful of winning the tree, but none as hopeful as Henry, who was hopping from one foot to the other, as much in excited anticipation as in an effort to keep warm in the chilly winter air. "I'm freezing," Henry said to Stanley. "I'm going across the street to the donut shop for a cup of cocoa." "But what if the vicar comes while you're gone?" Stanley asked nervously. "He won't," said Henry. "Besides, I'll be right back." And he pushed through the crowd and walked over to the donut shop. Henry had no sooner stepped inside the donut shop when the vicar appeared, carrying a large basket filled with the stubs of raffle tickets. The vicar stepped into the crowd and asked an old man to reach into the basket and draw one out. The old man removed a mitten and shoved his hand deep into the basket. He pulled out a stub and handed it to the vicar. "The winning number is 89, the vicar called out. "Is the lucky owner of number 89 here?" There was no reply. "I repeat," said the vicar, "will the person holding the ticket number 89 please step forward?" Still no response. "Is the possessor of raffle ticket number 89 here? And if he does not step forward within the next 2 minutes," the vicar persisted, "we shall have to draw another number." "I wonder if Henry has number 89, Stanley said. "Where is he anyway?" Stanley looked around, trying to see if Henry was on his way back from the donut shop. Finding that his view was blocked by the crowd of people pressing close behind him, Stanley decided to go and hurry Henry along. When Stanley finally got to the donut shop, sure enough, there was Henry, sitting at the counter, a steaming mug of cocoa in front of him, and his mouth stuffed with donuts. "The drawing has already been made," puffed Stanley. "Number 89 is the winner." Henry sputtered and coughed and nearly choked. "I've got number 89, he cried happily. "I won." "Not yet, you haven't," Stanley told him. "The vicar gave you 2 minutes to claim your tree, and that 2 minutes is very nearly up." Henry gulped down his cocoa and his last bite of donut. "Honey dip," he remarked, smacking his lips, when he dashed out the door behind Stanley. Henry and Stanley got across the street just in time to hear the vicar announce, "The new winning ticket number is 105. Henry charged through the crowd, waving his ticket. "Number 89, he shouted. "I've got number 89. Henry reached the vicar a second or two after the holder of number 105 had laid claim to the tree and was already dragging it off. "My tree," Henry squealed. "I've got number 89. "Too late," the vicar told Henry. "You had 2 minutes to claim your tree, and the 2 minutes were up long ago." Henry was crushed. He had known from the start that he would win that tree, and he had in his way, well, sort of. All of a sudden, Henry began to feel a little foolish. He had spent all of the Christmas tree money on those raffle tickets, and now he had no money left to buy a tree. But then he thought some more. "We can still buy a tree," Henry said. "We can use the grocery money." "No, we can't," Stanley said meekly. "It's all gone." "All gone?" Henry said, puzzled. "Yes," explained Stanley. "I spent it on raffle tickets for your tree. I knew how much that tree meant to you, so I took the grocery money and I bought some more tickets." Henry just groaned. Then he began to chuckle. Pretty soon he was laughing so hard that he fell right over into the snow. Stanley couldn't help but smiling. "What's so funny?" he asked. "Us," roared Henry, holding his sides for the pain his laughter had caused him. "First we had no tree, and now we have no Christmas dinner either." Stanley still didn't see the humor in it, but Henry's laughter was so infectious that before long he was laughing and stumbling along as well. After a while, Stanley helped Henry to his feet, and arm in arm the two friends staggered home. They were crossing the schoolyard when they noticed that the students were preparing to close for the night. The students were dragging the unsold trees into an enclosed area where they would be locked in until the next day. and one of the students was closing the gate when Stanley noticed his tree. The scrawny, brown-needled one was still lying on the corner of the yard. "You forgot one," Stanley called to the students, and he pointed to the pathetic little tree. "We don't want that one," a student replied. "Can we have it then?" Stanley asked excitedly. "Help yourself," they said. So Stanley ran to the tree, stood it up in the snow, and Henry walked around the tree 3 times before he spoke. "Now that I look at it more closely," he observed, "I see that it's not such a bad tree after all." Stanley breathed a sigh of relief and squeezed Henry's arm. "Thanks," he said. "At least now we have a Christmas tree." Henry chuckled and said, "Who knows? Maybe Mama Bear will bring us some Christmas dinner too." And she did, with red and green jelly cakes for dessert. The end.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jesse Stewart, also known as the artist, songwriter, and the reigning international groovy soca monarch, College Boy Jesse. And this morning I'll be reading The Caribbean and Me. It's a book for ages 4 years plus, and it was written by Kiana Bowen. All right. So the book, there's 2 characters. There's Zari and there's also Koto. Zari is a girl and Koto is a boy. So it starts with Zari. "Hello, my name is Zari and I am the fruit-eating princess from Grenada." "Hola, that is Spanish for hello. Call me Koto. I am the Prince of Fun. Can you guess which island I am from?" "I am from Antigua and Barbuda. We live on different islands, but soon we become good friends as we tour and learn all about the Caribbean. Would you like to join us?" A for avocado. So the book, there's basically the alphabet, the letters of the alphabet, and it highlights different fruits or vegetables or items from the Caribbean using the letters of the alphabet. So the first letter is A for avocado. Koto and Zari start the day the same way on their home islands, by eating avocados for breakfast. An avocado is a pear-shaped fruit that is purple or green on the outside and yellow on the inside with a large seed. With its creamy taste, avocados are a favorite in the Caribbean. B for beach. The sun is shining, so Koto takes off for the beach with his family. It is often said that there are 365 beaches in Antigua and Barbuda, 1 beach for each day of the year. Now C for carnival. You know, something that we all enjoy. Unlike Koto, Zari gets ready to travel abroad for carnival in Trinidad and Tobago for the first time. Carnival is color, carnival is mass. "Zari, hurry, hurry, let us go fast," her mother calls. Up, up and away, Zari buckles up as she flies on an airplane to the home of Carnival. Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago is the greatest show on earth. Many other Caribbean countries also have carnivals. So there's a map that highlights all the different countries in the Caribbean where there is carnivals. D for dance. At Carnival, Zari dances to soca music. Soca music started in Trinidad and Tobago in the 1970s. It is a mix of soul music, calypso, and chutney rhythms. E for Easter. It is now Easter. Easter is a religious time of the year when Koto and Zari's families travel to experience new cultures. Come along and hop, hop, hop with Koto and Zari as they go around the Caribbean to enjoy the Easter holidays. F for food. Koto's first stop is on an island east of the Caribbean, Barbados. There he eats lots of yummy food, including their national dish, cuckoo and flying fish. So after F, as we know, is G. And we go back to another fruit in the Caribbean, G for guava. Koto then travels to St. Lucia, which happens to be the same island Zari visits for her Easter holidays. What are those called? Asks Koto. As he arrives in the hotel lobby, Zari replies, they are guavas. A guava is a green fruit that is peach-colored inside. What is your name? Are you St. Lucian? Asks Zari. My name is Koto. I am Antiguan, but my father is from Cuba and my mother is from Grenada, so you can say I am Caribbean, smiles Koto. Haha, they both laugh and quickly become good friends. Before Koto can ask Zari, offers, I am Grenadian too, just like your mother. They are so excited about their similarities in nationality, they introduce their families to each other. What do you have planned for the trip? Asks Koto. I plan to do all I can do, see all I can see, and yes, eat all I can eat, says Zari. Great. Let us go sightseeing, suggests the Prince of Fun. So I believe that is it for today. We're at the letter G, guava. To follow the story and to learn more about the Caribbean and all the letters that identify things that we do in the Caribbean, feel free to check out this book, The Caribbean and Me, written by Kiana Bowen. My name is Jesse Stewart, College Boy Jesse. Thank you.
Hello children, I am Auntie Lisa Wickham and welcome to the Celebrity Tale-A-Thon Christmas edition. I'm going to read for you. Are you going to stay with me? Is that a yes? Okay, great. Today I want to read a story called A Parang Story, and it's written by Timothy C. Timal. Okay, so I've never read this book before, so we're reading it together, okay? Let's go. Parents, you can stay as well. Sick in bed and surrounded by family, 86-year-old Parang Queen Florence Amantes raises a tired hand and shoos away everyone except her eldest. He leans in closely, listening to her commands, and walks out of the room to the sullen crowd and whispers in 12-year-old Amanda's ear. A smile on her face, Amanda skips into the room, the rest looking in amazement. Amanda runs over and hugs her ma in bed, clutching her tightly. With a smile on Florence's face, tears flow freely from her old and tired eyes. Why are you crying, Ma? Florence clutches Amanda's face gently in her hands. I'm sorry. Amanda looks confused. I'm sorry. Florence tosses her feet to the side of the bed and lumbers upright. Flower, that is what my grandpa called me. I could not be much older than you when he gave it to me. Amanda looks on in amazement. Florence's nose flares and her chest heaves as she takes in a big breath of air. Amanda holds her breath in unison. The smell of cedar wood, the best scent in the world. The deep breath seemed to have taken years off Florence's face. This is Florence sitting down here. Okay, let's go. Pa stretched out his hand and I hesitated, but gave him back my brand new quattro that he made especially for me. Amanda watches with concern on her face as her great-grand sways back and forth on the edge of the bed. But her fear soon wanes as Florence draws her hands to her breasts and begins to strum an imaginary quattro. Pachang, kachang, pachang, kachang. Amanda's face lights up, and as she was notorious for, she begins to mock her ma's every movement. Do you mock your grandma or your mama? A couple of quick blinks of her eyes, and Amanda is amazed to see that ma's battle-worn nightgown gives way to a pretty floral dress. The years fall off Florence's face, her hair black and thick-grained, adorned with a blood-red hibiscus flower. A concentrated frown on her face, her lips quiver as it forms to make the first high-pitched note of parang. Can you sing parang? Her mouth moving, her hands strumming faster and faster and stronger. Florence is alive with the imaginary sound. Look at Grandma, look at what she looks like now. Oh my goodness. Anyway, back to the story. like the low murmur of a running brook gaining strength with every step forward. Every mocked movement that Amanda makes seems to make the music louder and clearer until she could hear every crisp sound coming from the instruments, blessed by the heavenly voice of Great Grand. Amanda sways back and forth. It's affording her a view of her profile in the long side mirror next to the bed, and she gasps as she too wears a dress like Great Grand, complete with hibiscus and quattro. Amanda plays and sways like a seasoned parandero, much older than her tender years, the music infecting her like a fever, haunting her soul. Parang, 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 ching. That is the quattro there. So possessed was she that even though her imagination let her continue to see Great Grand singing, Amanda hears her aged voice as she continues to speak to her. I spent the entire August, that's Great Grand speaking, I spent the entire August vacation by Ma and Pa, and Pa died the last Saturday before school was supposed to start back. Amanda gasped, her face full of horror. Florence, dressed in black, complete with veil on her head, tenderly strums her quattro, the words from her mouth soothing the pain of the moment. Tears roll down her eyes as she stands over her pa's coffin. Amanda shuns her imagination and returns to the present. But I thought Parang was only about Christmas. A big smile forms on Florence's face. Christmas, christenings, birthdays, weddings, all kinds of celebrations. Amanda studies the words. But a funeral is not a celebration. Florence bursts out laughing. What you say, girl? It is the greatest celebration, for it is the celebration of the life that was and the promise of what will be. Amanda absorbs this life lesson. A black suit with a white rose pinned to its breast, his hair slick and his mustache cropped like an American Western star. Rupert was the best-looking man I had ever seen. Amanda chuckles at her great-grandfather's name. Florence begins to sway and strum her imaginary instrument again. Amanda could see a young Florence dressed in a white wedding gown next to her young, strapping great-grandfather. Looking around, she marvels at how the new church on the hill looked, with its fresh paint and newly varnished pews. But it was the sound of the parang band in the corner that really caught her attention. Can you see it? Can you hear the parang, children? Talk, talk, talk. The sound of the talk, talk signals the familiar beginning of a parang song. This is followed by the guitar, the mandolin, the bass box, the shak shak, the clapper, grater, and finally, the quattro. All these simple hand-note instruments or handmade instruments combine to make the most beautiful sound. Everyone swayed and shimmied, I love to shimmy, in the church, except for one man dressed in black, which would have been better suited for a funeral. Mr. Weiner, a big-time music producer and manager from town, he said he would make me a star. And he was right, for you see all them trophies, plaques and CDs in the living room? That was because of him. But he didn't tell me I would also be responsible for the death of Parang. Let's find out. Electric instruments kill Parang, and I was right there. I could have done something to stop it. Amanda snaps out of her dream state to see her very old and very worn great-grandmother Florence Amantes shuffle back into bed. I'm sorry, Amanda. Amanda carefully saunters up to the edge of the bed. The way it sounds, it looks as if Parang would have been dead a long time ago, were it not for you. It was Florence's turn to let her imagination run wild. Over the decades, she had played and sang for presidents and paupers in the galleries of tiny houses and the island's biggest halls. She had done it all, won every prize and received every accolade. Parang had given her life, and so she had reciprocated. That means she gave it back to Parang, right? Reciprocated. Big word. Go and ask mommy and daddy what that means. Florence smiles at Amanda and then looks over her shoulder and smiles an even bigger, brighter smile as Amanda hugs her hard. Leave me now, Flower. I call you just like Pa used to call me. Amanda's hug lingers, finally broken as the light in the room flutters. She hangs her head as she slowly walks to the door. She looks back to see her great-grandfather on bended knee, hands outstretched to Florence. A wink of his eye at Amanda, and she smiles and lifts her head. In the corridor, the rest of the family look on, their faces hanging even lower now, the lights in the house dim until finally going out. The complete darkness and silence is broken by the creak of Florence's bedroom door opening. The panicked shuffles by the elders in search of candlelight dims as haunting sounds of a quattro accompanied by an angelic voice fills the Amantis household. Candlelight illuminates Florence's room, and the rest of the family watch as Amanda celebrates the life of Florence and becomes the promise of what will be. No one was ever able to figure out why the Amanda's house was the only one to lose electricity that night. But as word spread throughout the village, each and every household took off their lights in tribute to the passing of Florence Amantes, the Queen of Parang. And that's where our story ends. But I don't want you to be sad because Florence passed, because we are going to sing a Parang song right now. Do you know any Parang? I know one. I know. I, Maria, chukunka chung chung, that's my quattro. Maria, chukunka chung chung, I, Maria. So children, that brings us to the end of another Celebrity Tale-A-Thon Christmas edition. I am Auntie Lisa, and I trust that you enjoyed it. Remember, reading is very important, so continue to read. Bye-bye.
So now that you've learned how to make your Christmas decorations, Auntie Natasha is going to teach you how to make some yummy sweetbread muffins.
Hi kids and hi parents. For those of you all who don't know me, I'm Natasha from the YouTube channel Trini Cooking with Natasha. And in today's episode for this Celebrity Tale-A-Thon, I'll be sharing with you all my recipe for sweetbread muffins. It's going to be the perfect bite-sized muffins, and I know that you kids are going to love it. So let's jump straight into this recipe. Let me show you all how it's made. So we're going to start this recipe. We're using self-rising flour, and to that we're adding in cake spice. If you don't have cake spice, you can use cinnamon powder and nutmeg. Next goes in butter, and I did double the amount of butter that I used because I think it did need some extra. So you want to break the butter into the flour until it resembles fine breadcrumbs. Once that happens, we're going to add in our sugar, coconut flakes. I use sweetened shredded flakes. You can use fresh flakes. In goes cherries, raisins, mixed peel, and craisins. Feel free to put the fruits that you would like, and also you can add in some walnuts or some pecans. Give this a mix, and next we're going to add in our essence. I'm using coconut essence. You can also use vanilla essence or mixed essence. Give that a mix and then add in your evaporated milk. Now I'm adding half of the evaporated milk. I'll give it a mix and then I'll add the other half. Now look closely at how my batter looks. This is the consistency you're going for. Nice and soft. Now I'm using my 2-inch cookie scoop or ice cream scoop, and I'm going to scoop out some and place it into my lined muffin tins. You guys feel free to taste the batter. That's the best part of making or baking cakes and muffins and sweetbreads. Growing up as a child, that was my favorite thing to do. These bake at 350 degrees for 30 minutes or until they are done. Make sure, kids, allow your parents to help you to put it into the oven and to take it out. Once they're done and they've cooled slightly, you can now enjoy them. I love that the entire top has that nice crunchy exterior and the inside is pillowy, soft and delicious. I'm going to break into it so you guys can see. The sweetbread muffin smells heavenly. Look how soft it is. That's why I told you guys to mix it to the consistency that I showed you all. Make sure and follow all of the instructions and you'll have the most perfect and delicious muffins ever. So kids and parents, did you enjoy this episode? Did you enjoy seeing how easy it is to make this delicious treat? We took the traditional sweetbread and made it into a muffin. You kids are going to love this. This is going to be great for you all to try to make it on your own. Thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of Celebrity Tale-A-Thon. I want to wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year 2022. Stay safe, guys. Bye-bye.
Don't forget you have the chance to be featured on Nalys's social media when you send a 30-second or minute-long video of what is your favorite part of the Celebrity Tale-A-Thon to the email address on your screen. Of course, you'll need your parents' permission, and parents, you can enter too. Tell us how many times you spotted the Christmas tree for your chance to win Nestle hampers. And remember to send those entries to the email address on your screen before December 30th. Up next, we hear from JD Cellier, who's going to tell us all about the brave little camel.
Hey kids, what's up? My name is Uncle JD. I'm looking for my book. They asked me to read a story for you all, but I just don't know where it is. Look around the place. You can tell me where you think it is? Where you think it might be? Over there? Over there? Over there. Let's go see if it's in the playground. See, I find it right here in the playground. Reading time. Let's read. Today, I'm going to read you a story from Saraya. It's called The Brave Little Camel. It was a hot day in the middle of the summer, and a herd of camels was sitting in the shade, munching dried green grass and dates. A wobbly little camel trotted up to his mother. "Look, Mama," he shouted, "I could run." "So you can," said the mother. The little camel fell over in the mud and waved his wobbly legs. "Oops," he said. "Oops." Mama laughed. Mama's friend sighed. "Children nowadays," she said, "they want to run before they can walk." Just then, the camel herd came into the stables, followed by a well-dressed official. "I want to buy 14 camels," the official said. The camel herd showed him his camels. "I'll take those 10 big ones over there," said the official, "and those 4 strong ones sitting by the gate." "What about this one?" said the camel herd, pointing to the naughty little camel, who was trying to jump over the stone. "I can't take that one," said the camel official. "He's too wobbly." "He's only 2 weeks old," said the camel herd. "Besides, you're buying his mother." "I can't take him," said the official firmly. The 3 wise masters want to cross the desert as quickly as possible. They are visiting a new king who was born yesterday in Bethlehem. The wobbly little camel will hold back everyone. "No, I won't," said the little camel. But of course, the official could not understand a word he was saying. The camel herd tied all the official's camel into a neat line. "I'm coming with you," said the little camel to his mother. "I want to see the newborn king." "All right," said his mother, "but make sure you don't get caught." When the official led the camels down the street, the wobbly little camel slid past the camel herd and tiptoed quietly behind his mother. But the official spotted him right away. "Go home, little camel," said the official. The little camel pretended to go away. He hid round a corner and stood very still. When the official was looking the other way, the little camel sneaked back onto the train again. This time he walked behind a very big camel and the official did not spot him. The three wise men and their servants were waiting for the camels on the edge of the village. They had many more camels with them, loaded with food, clothes, and splendid gifts for the newborn king. The little camel's mother was given some carpets to carry. They were rolled up into huge bundles and secured with rope on her back. Look at that. I want to carry one too, said the little camel. Be quiet, said his mother. Someone might hear you. But the naughty little camel would not be quiet. I want to carry a carpet for the newborn king, he wailed. All right, his mother said. Oh gosh. His mother said patiently, wait patiently. But don't blame me if you get caught and sent back to the camel herd. She rolled the smallest carpet of her hump and let it fall on the little camel's back. There, she said. Is it heavy? Only a bit, said the little camel. Keep to the middle of the train, said his mother. That way, no one will spot you. The camel train started its journey across the desert. The little camel wobbled and trottled under his carpet, but he wouldn't give up. Hurry up, mother said, or you'll get left behind. They would leave you. The wobbly little camel hurried as fast as he could, but he couldn't help falling behind. His wobbly little legs won't carry him fast enough. At last, he was spotted trailing behind the rest of one of the servants. There's a carpet walking behind us, the servant said. The official whispered to the carpet of the little camel. I told you to go back home, he sneered. Now go away. Shoo! Go from here. The little camel pretended to go away again. He hid behind a dune and waited until the train was moving once more. Then he crept back to his mother. I want to see the newborn king, he cried. I know, sighed his mother, but try to behave yourself this time now and don't stay too close to me. The official might come back looking for you. The little camel tried extremely hard to behave. He tried thinking about the newborn king and what would he look like. He wondered, would he have a hump like a baby camel? He asked, would he want to play in the sand? The little camel was so happy to be going to see the newborn king that he forgot to be quiet. He started to dance. He jumped and pranced until he was tired. Then he fell asleep. When he woke up again, the train had moved on. The little camel was frightened. He called for his mother. Help! Help! He shouted. He was about to start crying when he noticed a trail of camels' prints on the sand. That's the way my mama went, he thought. He followed the trail, stumbling along on his little wobbly legs until he could see the camel train in the distance. Mama! Mommy! Wait for me! I'm coming to see the newborn king! The little camel ran faster and faster, but suddenly a sandstorm blew up. The wobbly little camel kneeled on the ground and shut his eyes to keep out the sand. When he opened them again, it was pitch dark. The little camel could not see the train anymore. He looked for his mama's prints in the sand, but the wind had blown them away. I'm lost, wailed the little camel, and I so wanted to see the newborn king. Just then, a shooting star lifted up and the little camel could see his way. Far ahead of him stood the camel train on the edge of the desert. I'm coming, Mama, he called with his little wobbly camel legs. Mommy, I'm coming, called the wobbly little camel. He broke into a wobbly little trot, kept his eyes firmly on the train. The shooting star was hovering above, lighting up the sky with gold and silver sparks. If you want to hear more of the story, everybody say more on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the excited little camel ran faster and faster. He ran across the sand, past his mother, straight into the stables where the 3 wise men were kneeling. He was going so fast that he couldn't stop. he slid right into the manger where the baby lay. Not you again, cried the official. Children nowadays. Ugh. Shocking, gasped some of the shepherds near the manger. But the baby's mother, a beautiful lady with long dark hair, smiled and patted the little camel on his head. Have you come to see the newborn king? She asked. The wobbly little camel nodded. And did you come all the way across the desert with your mama? The wobbly little camel nodded again. You are so brave to have come all that way, said the beautiful lady. She lifted the newborn king out of the manger so that the little camel could see him properly. The little baby king did not have a hump, but he was as wobbly as the little camel, and he had the kindest, beautiful face in the world. The little camel wanted to be his friend forever. That is why, even today, the little camel goes from house to house at Christmas, bringing presents from the baby Jesus to all the little children. Did you enjoy that story, kids? I did. I loved it a lot. Remember, Uncle JD say to read a book, all right? You could be a little camel. You never know.
Hi everyone, I'm Sigoni Mohammed, and today we'll be reading a special story that's set in a barn with animals talking amongst themselves about Christmas. This is the story of Pippin the Christmas pig, and it's written by Jean Little with illustrations by Werner Zimmerman. So Pippin stared at Noddy, the grumpy old donkey you see there. "Noddy, you look all excited," she said. "Of course I'm excited," said Noddy. "It's Christmas tomorrow." "Christmas? What's Christmas?" Pippin asked. "What's Christmas?" Noddy repeated. "Don't be pignorant, Pippin. Everyone knows about Christmas." The tips of Pippin's ears went very pink. "I hope you remember that my family gave the first gift," Noddy went on. "The baby's mother rode on a donkey all the way to Bethlehem. Christmas couldn't even begin until she got there." The curl went out of Pippin's tail. "Nobody told me a thing about Christmas." "My mother said that they were almost late because of that slowpoke donkey." "That's Bess." She said it with a gentle moo. "My great-great-great-grandmother gave her manger for the baby's bed. Without her, they would have had to put the baby to sleep on the floor. The best present was that manger." "What baby? What manger?" Pippin begged, but nobody noticed her. "And I still don't know what Christmas is." "The hay in that manger was full of prickles," muttered Curly. She's a sheep. "They would have scratched the child's face. One of my family had to give the mother a lamb's fleece to cushion the rough bed. The soft wool was a welcome gift, I can tell you." Pippin's ears were now bright pink. "But where were the pigs?" she demanded in her biggest voice. "Don't fret, Pippin," Bess said. "Christmas has nothing to do with pigs. What present could a pig possibly give a baby anyway, especially a baby as special as that one?" "Well, if there were donkeys, cows, and sheep, there must have been pigs," she stated. But once again, nobody was listening to her. "My very great-grandparents sang him to sleep." That's Kuru the pigeon. "That crowd of angels and shepherds kept him awake until my family crooned a lullaby. That song was of the first importance that night." Pippin now stamped her tiny hoof. "But what did pigs do?" she said. "They must have been there and done something." "No pigs were there." "The very idea. The child was a king. That holy stable was no place for pigs." Then Bess spoke up. "Pippin, face it. What could pigs have given a holy child? Pigs have nothing worthy." Pippin hung her head. The barn door stood open a crack, and slowly she went toward it. Then she pushed it farther open with her snout. She had to get away. Once outside, she waited. They might call her back. But nobody called. They had not even noticed her leaving. I'm going where pigs matter and Christmas doesn't," Pippin announced in a shaking voice. "And I won't come back. Never, ever." As she sat out, a gust of wind struck her full in the face. Snowflakes stung her eyes and frosted the tips of her ears. She almost fled right back inside, but she forced herself to go forward. The cold was bitter, and soon Pippin could no longer see the barn through the whirling snow. She passed a tattered scarecrow who leered and waved one ragged arm at her. He was scary. Farther on, she saw a blue jay with its feathers all blown backward. The hunched bird was just too miserable to warn the world of the little pig's passing, and Pippin's feet hurt by now, and her tail stiffened into a curly icicle. "I will die out here," she whimpered, stumbling on. If I don't turn back, I will perish." But she had sworn never to go back. They didn't want her. They had said pigs were good for nothing. At long last, Pippin reached the main road. She peered up at the mailbox and wished she could climb inside, but she passed it and kept going. Down the road, she stopped to catch her breath, and through the snow, she saw a woman coming toward her, carrying a baby in her arms. Pippin moved closer for a better look. The woman staggered. She wore no gloves or hat, and her jacket was thin. She must have been cold. And the little girl, so sound asleep that her little head nodded on her mother's shoulder, looked way too heavy for her to carry much farther. "Poor things," Pippin murmured, forgetting her own troubles for a moment. "Shh," the woman crooned to her baby. "We have so far to go, but maybe we can find a nice warm barn to rest in." She shivered. Pippin knew where to find a warm barn. She had sworn never to return there, but this was an emergency. "Follow me," she grunted and nudged the woman along the road until they came to the long farm lane. Maybe the wind had dropped, for Pippin felt just a little warmer. Even the scarecrow's smile they had passed looked friendlier. At the barn door, the little pig pushed ahead. "Listen to me," she called to the animals. "Don't interrupt na, Pippin," said Noddy. "We're making Christmas plans." "I don't care," Pippin yelled. "Whatever Christmas was, it was long ago. I have a baby here who needs a place to sleep right now." Bess's jaw dropped as she saw the woman clutching her baby. "It's Christmas all over again," the woman whispered as she entered the barn. Gently, she laid her baby down in the manger's sweet hay. The baby curled up and started sucking her thumb. "Bless you, little pig. It is warm here," the woman murmured, settling onto a nearby heap of hay. "Warm and safe." "Oh Lord, they're both asleep already?" Kuru whispered moments later. Then all the animals stared at Pippin. "Who is this woman?" snapped Curly. "Pippin, we can't take in some homeless nobody," Noddy added. "My very great," Bess began. "We'll need milk," said Pippin. "We'll need some soft wool. We'll need your old blanket, Noddy, and we'll need lots of lullabies, Kuru. Your very great grandparents aren't here. You must help this baby yourselves." "But that is not a special baby," Noddy protested. "Of course she is," said Pippin. "All babies are special." Noddy gazed into the small sleeping face. "You know you're right," he said. "I'd forgotten." When the farmer and his wife came out to feed their animals, they saw the young woman, covered with Noddy's old blanket, asleep in the hay. Then they caught sight of the baby girl lying in the manger. "It's Christmas," the man said softly. "Right here in our barn is a miracle." "Oh, hush now," his wife whispered. "Let them sleep. We'll watch them and see if they need our help later on." When the couple left, Pippin looked around and saw exactly what they had seen. Noddy's warm blanket, Curly's soft wool, Bess's manger and milk. "You were right," she said. Her tail drooped. "None of these gifts is from me. Maybe pigs really do not have anything to give. But thank you all for being so kind to them." The other animals looked down at the little piglet. "Oh, Pippin, what a silly you are. Bess said softly. You gave us our very own Christmas. You gave us a chance to give of ourselves instead of boasting about our grandparents. Don't you see that that was the best gift of all? Well, it took a runty pig, laughed Noddy, to teach us what Christmas really is. And so, this story comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed Pippin the Christmas Pig.
And we've almost come to the close of the Celebrity Tale-A-Thon, but no Christmas program is complete without the sounds of sweet, sweet parang music. Get ready to get up and dance to the sound of Armantes de Paranda.
Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos. Cantan de parranda, contentos al Señor. Cantan de parranda, contentos al Señor. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos. Cantan de parranda, contentos al Señor. Cantan de parranda, contentos al Señor. Nosotros cantemos con mucha emoción de la Navidad de nuestro Señor, de la Navidad de nuestro Señor. Nosotros cantemos con mucha emoción de la Navidad de nuestro Señor, de la Navidad de nuestro Señor. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor. Busca pan pasada, María y José, y en viejo establo tuvo que nacer, y en viejo establo tuvo que nacer. Busca pan pasada, María y José, y en viejo establo tuvo que nacer, y en viejo establo tuvo que nacer. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor. Pero los que fueron al niño nacer, él fue y la mula, María y José, él fue y la mula, María y José. Fueron los que fueron al niño nacer, él fue y la mula, María y José, él fue y la mula, María y José. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor. Cantemos de gozo, llenos de alegría, nos protege Dios, el Hijo de María, nos protege Dios, el Hijo de María. Cantemos de gozo, llenos de alegría, nos protege Dios, el Hijo de María, nos protege Dios, el Hijo de María. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música de los parranderos, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, cantando parranda, contentos al Señor, contentos al Señor, contentos al Señor, contentos al Señor, contentos al Señor. Oiga, oiga, oiga la música.
Our next storyteller is no stranger to the camera, James Saunders.
Hey, hi there. I didn't see you guys. You guys snuck up on me. All right, you won't catch me next time. Oh, my name is James Saunders and it is story time. Who's excited for a good story? I know that I'm excited about a good story. And today we're going to read a story about Andy and him discovering Christmas. Any Andys there? We have any Andys today? Andy, pick up yourself. Yeah, man. Who loves Christmas, by the way? I know I love Christmas. Oh my God, I could just wait for those presents, you know, for food. Oh my God, I'm excited about Christmas. So I'm excited to find out how Andy discovered Christmas, because we all love Christmas. We see some kitters and shack shack. Anybody know what that's called? The kind of music that we sing. Sigh, sigh, sigh. Parang music, if you got it right. Yeah, put up your hand. Wave if you got it right. Now this story is written by Gregory Thompson and it's illustrated by Rachel Frank. And illustrated simply means all the nice drawings that we saw. Rachel drew all of that. Any drawers? Awesome, awesome, good stuff. Thumbs up. All right, so let's see. The adventure of Manti and Andy. It was the month of December. Whew, that's not far from now. When the gentle evening breeze felt chillier than the previous months. Ooh, anybody feel cold around Christmas time? My God, it's cold around Christmas time. Well, it was a time like that. And Andy had already retreated into his tiny burrow. The coldness was too much for him. So Andy basically was under a blanket maybe, under a sweater, and he was feeling cold. He was saying, no, I'm not coming outside. Well, located right above his colony settlement lay flowering sorrel. They were all planted about 6 months ago. Their soft yellow blossoms somehow heralded a special occasion. Now, Andy, above where he lived, Andy, by the way, is an ant, and he's a sorrel tree, so he lived under a sorrel tree. Yep. Now the next day, both Andy and Manti were up bright and early. You know, like when you have to get up early to go to school? Yep. Andy got up early. He said, yes, it's a new day. Andy had revealed that he felt sleepy earlier than usual. He then asked Manti, have you noticed how the days have changed? Anybody notice how the days have changed? That it gets darker earlier? So he was asking Manti that. He said, you notice the days change? Manti nodded his head animatedly. Yes, it changed. It's dark. Why is it so cold and dark? Andy wondered aloud. Ah, Christmas is the reason. Soon the giant ones would be out celebrating it, Manti excitedly uttered. Ooh, giants. Ooh, now don't get scared. Remember, Manti's an ant. He's small and tiny. So who do you think the giants that he was referring to, who do you think are the giants? Anybody knows? Yes, you got it. The giants are us. Because if an ant is like small and tiny like this, then we are big. We are the giants. So Manti was talking about us. He said soon we'll be out celebrating. So this is Manti and this is Andy. And this is his son because he got up early. Alright. Why do they celebrate Christmas? He asked. It is the most festive time throughout the whole world, Manti declared. Everybody celebrates. Is that really so? Andy said. Of course, Andy. Don't you pay attention to the migrating flocks for the north? Migrating flocks of birds. They always fly to where, you know, to the north every time it's around that period. So Mandy was saying, don't you notice that? They bring us tidings about the snow, frozen lakes and frantic shopping done by the giant ones annually. Now we are fortunate here in the Caribbean. Now we don't have snow. Who would like to have snow? Snow is very cold, you know, but it's fun. I tell you, I played in the snow already. It was real fun, but it's also very cold. But of course the giant ones, us, we like to shop. That's how we get our presents, because we go shopping. So So one of the ducks had mentioned that once he got caught in a snow blizzard and he had to shelter himself in a nearby barn for the whole winter. So he was flying, and then it was cold and it was stormy, and he was like, oh my God, I can't make it. And then he saw a barn and he said, no, I'm going to shelter. So the duck ran inside for the whole winter. Now during that time, they were all dressed up wearing olden shepherd-like clothing, mimicking the celebration of a newborn child. So the duck came in and he was like, what's going on here? Why they dress up like shepherds? Why they, celebrating the birth of a newborn child? So the duck never understood why. But then again, he never understood the giant people because he was a duck. So shepherds, baby, anybody? The duck was asking the question, but anybody know what this is about? If you know it, shout it out. That's right, you got it. Mary and Joseph and the birth of Jesus. Manti then continued, well, here in the Caribbean, that's where we're from, this festival is celebrated by eating lots of stuff and giving gifts. Who eats lots of stuff for Christmas? Black cake, oh my God, ham, pastels, lots of stuff. And we give gifts as well. Yep, I love getting gifts. So Andy became very excited because he was like, where is this place that you all eat so much and you all get gifts to? What kind of stuff do they eat? Manti chuckled. Oh boy, Andy. As he noticed Andy's, his lips were getting dry. He was like, where you getting gifts? So you're getting food to eat. So you see a big present. So Manti continued, well, first up, let me tell you, lots of preparations need to be made before that special day. These include activities such as house cleaning. Yeah, oh my God. Who had to clean up? Who started cleaning already? Whose mother made them do dishes? Whose mother made them sweep? Oh yes, lots of cleaning. House painting. With your paintbrush and your painting. And throwing away old stuff. I don't like when my parents show me my stuff, because I want to keep my old toys. But they throw it away. But that's all part of the preparation. So Manti was telling Andy all about it. He was like, yes, there's lots of gift giving, there's lots of food, there's lots of work as well. So you see, Christmas time, the painting. Does this look like anybody there? I know it looks like me. Now, he's saying that decorations that were packed away long time because maybe a Christmas tree, a Christmas light. Well, they have to be dusted and cleaned. Old decorations, boy. And family members, neighbors, and friends each help each other out by giving support during the special season. Who goes and helps their neighbors or their friends clean? Let me see if there are any good or nice people here. Anybody help? Your auntie, your uncle, your neighbors, your friends, you go help them clean? Good job. The decorating of the Christmas tree, the changing of the curtains, and the Christmas lights both on the eaves of rooftops, tree trunks, they create a festive sight. So when you change your nice little curtains, you decorate your Christmas tree, it looks good. So Manti was telling Andy because Andy had never heard about this before. On that special day, they greet each other by saying, Merry Christmas! Alright, I want to hear you say it. 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas! So Manti was saying, hey, around that time, the giant people, meaning us, they greet each other by saying that. The best is then brought out. Oh my God, the best. The punch of crema. Or the sorrel. Oh my gosh, I could just taste that sorrel. The turkey. The ham. The pastel. Ginger beer, fruit cake. Oh my God, I feel like it's Christmas already. Those are some of the very popular delicacies, Manti said. Yum, yum. Can't wait for Christmas. Oh my God. I want my table to look like this. Turkey, your ham, your sorrel. Oh my gosh. And Andy felt, well, just sounding real good. Everything sounded like a heavenly feast. Manti carried on. He said, I ain't done yet. It's also habitual for the giant ones to go around visiting homes. So not only do they have food in their houses, but they get to go around visiting other homes to play parang music and also to sing carols or church songs about the birth of Christ. Anybody know a popular parang song that you sing? Muleos bingo, guaido por shit. Well, okay, I can't sing it as well. But you might have your popular one. Silent night, holy night. Oh my God, yeah. So Manti was telling Andy, and Andy's eyes opening up. So, for true, that has really happened. Anybody here ever sang parang or sang a Christmas carol? So Manti was talking about you. Yeah, he's talking about you. So Andy said, whoa, that must be a really big festival. It's a pity that we don't share such a tradition where we are. And Manti was like quick to remark, but how could you be so forgetful, boy? Anybody have any friends that are real forgetful? They just forget everything. So Manti was saying, Andy, wait, how are you so forgetful? Why are you forgetting? We have our own seasons and traditions in the insect world. Now remember, they are ants. So Andy was like, what are you talking about? You talking about food and parang? What tradition? I can't remember that. So Manti said, oh yes. And then Andy thought. And he said, oh yes. How absent-minded am I? It's like when you forget your homework. I was absent-minded. Anyway, I got some more work to do, Andy said. I got some work to do. Manti then insisted, well, before you leave, according to the giant ones, Merry Christmas. So even then, Manti still reminded him, hey, Merry Christmas. And he probably gave him a hug as well too. He's like, Merry Christmas, Andy. Mwah. Probably give him a nice big kiss on the cheek. So you see, give him a nice big Manti hug. Merry Christmas. So Andy was like, wait, it's Christmas today? I mean, you told me Merry Christmas. Is it Christmas today? And then Manti said, of course, Andy. Andy's absent-minded, remember. It's Christmas. And then Andy then declared, oh my God, how could I forget? Well, Merry Christmas to you and to everyone. So, don't be like Andy with Christmas, all right? Save the date. It's December 25th is when we celebrate it here in the Caribbean. So make sure to eat. Eat lots of food. Have fun. Help your parents with your chores and your cleaning. And most importantly, we say thank you to God for making all of this possible. And we share our love for God by sharing our love for all of our friends and everybody around. So when you see somebody around you, make sure and tell them, Merry Christmas! Mwah, 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 mwah. All right? So Merry Christmas to you, and thank you very much. That's the end of my story. So when I do see you again, it'll be to tell you, Merry Christmas. Catch you later. Uncle James is gone.
And we've come to the end of Nalis's 13th annual Celebrity Tale-A-Thon, the Christmas edition. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, because I loved every story, the crafts, even the yummy sweetbread, and of course, dancing to parang. But before we go, we must say thank you to our sponsors without whom this couldn't be possible. So thank you to Republic Bank, the National Gas Company Limited, and the Kiss Baking Company. Until the next one, Merry Christmas, everyone. Enjoy!